institution of Olubadan of Ibadanland has for a very long time been designed in such a way that only the elderly, matured, and civilized could get to the throne of Olubadan. Olubadan superintends over the 11 local government councils that constitute Ibadanland, with several hundreds of family compounds within the metropolis, and not less than 10,000 villages in the less city. In the year 2007, it was the turn of the then Otun Olubadan, High Chief Samuel Odugade to be crowned as the Olubadan of Ibadanland, after the demise of Oba Yunusa Bankole Ogundipe Arapasowu IV, and having been on the Otun Olubadan line for 35 years. Therefore, on Friday, August 17, 2007, High Chief Samuel Odugade became the 40th Olubadan of Ibadanland at the age of 93, and the nomenclature changed to Oba Samuel Odugade Odulana the Olubadan of Ibadanland. The reign of Oba Odugade was very peaceful to the people of Ibadanland. Oba Odugade was a peace lover, a bridge builder, eminently reputed to have devoted much energy to the pursuit of national unity. Oba Odugade contributed much to his people's civilization by applying his full strength to the vocation of serving as a guide of the iconic Yoruba culture and tradition. He was a dedicated scholar, politician, an accomplished public servant, a statesman, and a consummate nationalist who remained prominent in the crusade for Nigeria's independence. Prominent sons of Ibadanland, the Asiwaju of Ibadanland, Chief Bode Amao, and Badaba Mufin of Ibadanland, Chief Yusuf Akande, spoke about His Imperial Majesty, Oba Odugade Odulana.
His perfect soul rests in perfect peace, a complete gentleman, a disciplinarian by excellence, a very extremely honest man. He's a man of his word, and he's a man that money doesn't mean so much for him. But I've never seen an elderly man in a big position like him. He's a great man I respect so much.
I had the opportunity of becoming closer to him when I became the president of Central Council of Ibadan indigenes in the year 2007 up to 2011. All I know is that Papa Kabisi was father to everybody. He took everybody as his son or daughter, as the case may be. But the only thing there is that if you want to deal with Papa, you yourself, you have to be upright. Number one, you have to be honest, diligent, and intelligent. Because Baba has all these qualities in him. He was a disciplined man. At the same time, he was very humble, easy to talk to, and he would talk to you as if say you're on the same level. That is to draw people nearer. But one thing you cannot do with one thing you have to do is that you have to be very honest, as I said, be disciplined, and straightforward.
Late Oba Samuel Odugade Odulana was born at Fadina village in Igbo in the Lagelu local government area of Ibadanland on Thursday, 14th April 1914. One unique feature of Ibadan citizenship is that apart from having a village built by its ancestors, which is called Less City, which is outside the metropolis, an Ibadan indigene must also have a family compound in the ancient areas of the city. Therefore, apart from Fadina village where Oba Odugade was born, He also hails from Laduni compound in the Ojagbo area of Ibadan metropolis. The young Osundiran Odulana was on January 22 enrolled at St. Andrew's School, Bangbola in Lagiluluku government area of Ibadan. He later got transferred to St. Peter's School, Arema, Ibadan, and completed his middle school education in 1936. Because of scarce secondary school at the time, young Samuel Lana enrolled in a corresponding college to further his education and broaden his knowledge. In 1942, Samuel Osundiran enlisted in the West African Volunteer Force against the forces of German warlord Adolf Hitler during the Second World War. At the end of the war in 1945, Samuel Lana was put in charge of the mobilization of returning soldiers in Lagos. He discharged his duty so well that he received the Exemplary Character Award of the Army 4th Brigade, which later gave him the opportunity for immediate employment with the Colonial Office, Education Department in 1946 when he left the army. In 1959, Oba Odulana retired voluntarily to participate in politics and was elected in the last pre-independence federal elections in 1959. Though he had served in various lesser capacities at the local constituent assembly, even as a civil servant. As chairman of the Education Committee of the Ibadan District Council, Oba Odulana was instrumental to the establishment of a number of secondary schools and teachers training colleges, including the local authority teacher training college, which has now been transformed to Air Force Secondary School Iyanofa, the Igwele Grammar School in its place of birth, and the Lagelu Grammar School Ibadan in the city. As a member of the House of Representatives in Lagos, Oba Odulana was the parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister, Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. In that capacity in 1963, Samuel Lana attended the epoch-making Commonwealth Conference in London, following which Nigeria became a republic with a ceremonial president. Later that same year, Oba Samuel Lana became the country's Minister of State for Labour. Chief Samuel Lana was one of the founding members of the Ibadan Progressive Union in 1930, the union that championed the independence of Ibadan Native Authority, which liberated Ibadan from the control of Alaafin of Oyo, which later led to the transfer of capital of Oyo province back to Ibadan. Samuel Lana became the Magaji of Odugade compound Ojagbo Ibadan in 1972 and began the long journey to the throne of Olubadan in 1976 when he was installed as the Jagun Olubadan. For 31 years, after his installation as Jagun, he was climbing the 22 ladder of success until he was appointed the 40th king of the most populous black city, south of Sahara. The tenure of Oba Odugade was very peaceful in Ibadanland. Oba Odugade introduced a number of reforms to Ibadan's chieftaincy system, while the construction of a befitting palace for the Olubadan of Ibadanland, which is still under construction, was initiated during his tenure, and did not compromise in order to gain favor either from individual or state government.
Papa, as a Olubadan of Ibadan, I really cherish his period as Olubadan. Number one, there was peace. of course, somebody with discipline. Papa was very brave, very straightforward, and honest. So he doesn't fear anybody except God. If you are governor, he will give you your due, but certainly when he takes a decision, he will stand by it. And of course, he doesn't discriminate. Whether you are a son, or direct son or otherwise, he will discipline everybody equally. He doesn't show any favor to anybody. I remember in 1992, when I was about to take the title, myself and other colleagues of mine, I think we were about 8 or so. That was the time of Papa Ashanke was on the throne when we were giving this chieftaincy title. And traditionally, you go around the chiefs to say they're about to begin this title. When we got to Papa, all you say, well, I hope others have consented. We said yes. Okay, I bless you. Bless us. That's what he did. In fact, he refused to take anything from us. And when he became Olubadan, well, anytime anybody who came to his palace was his visitor. So, which means he would take you as his visitor and entertain you.
Oba Samuel Odulana believed that Ibadan Chieftaincy Award should not be a cash and carry and for the highest bidder article of trade. Throughout the tenure of Oba Odugade, honorary chieftaincy titles were given to the deserving ones, not necessarily the rich, and not for pecuniary gains. Oba Odugade during his reign set standards for ascension to the traditional lines from Magaji to Jagun, insisting that whoever aspired to rule Ibadan must not have less than a secondary school certificate. Former president of the Central Council of Ibadan indigenes, Chief Bayo Oyero and Chief Wole Akinwande also spoke about Oba Odugade.
I think I should refer to the program pamphlet we did for his funeral. And he was saying that the caption was "A King Apart." And that's what he was. A king apart. Baba was well educated, very committed to Ibadan cause, even before he became Olubadan. It was in his house in 1991. At his own initiative that we met and decided that the whole IMG should be broken. Ibadan Progressive Union, Ibadan Foundation, and CCI. We hosted the meeting, we convened the meeting, we hosted the meeting, and it was there we decided that IMD should be broken into smaller local governments, and we planned a strategy which worked. So that was how IMD was broken into 5 urban local governments. He did not commercialize the award of titles, whether traditional or honorary. I was involved in his tenure right from the beginning. He became Olubadan in 2007, and I became President General of CCI in 2011. But before then, right from 2007, I was very close to the palace. So I knew everything that was happening. In 2008, when he was marking his first anniversary on the throne, he gave honorary chieftaincy title to 24 people. There was none of them who knew before they were selected. There was none of them who paid for that title, for that honor. Because Babaji, even he discouraged those who wanted to give him anything. So the titles were given for their contribution to Ibadanland and also expected contribution. It wasn't a commercial enterprise.
Our father was a very forthright man, a man of vision. He had clear ideas of what he wanted to achieve, and is very, very religious, and that's why we made it a focus in CCR at that time to celebrate his 99th and 100th birthday. He was a very forthright man, highly disciplined, and he enjoys serving the people, not exploiting the people for his pocket. So that's one thing that is lacking in many leaders. Everybody goes to exploit a situation, but he goes to enhance everybody around him. He was open. He set standards with his lieutenants, and he was obeying. He was what we saw. He wasn't a dictator. He was always getting them to go with him, carrying others with him, and taking ideas here and there. But he has the final say, which was very important because of his experience everywhere in the world and in the development of Ibadan. You know, when you are developing something, you have a vision of what should become of it. If it is not going that, you steal the people, selling the idea to people, making everybody wanting to do the best.
In 2005, Oba Samuel Odugade was conferred with doctorate degree in management technology by the Federal University of Technology, Akure in Ondo State. And in 2007, he was conferred with the national honor of the Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR, for his proven integrity and exceptional competence. The family head of Odugade family, who had his tutelage under Oba Odugade, Magaji Tunji Ajala, and two of his children, Prince Babajide Lana and Professor Femi Lana, also attested to the integrity of the late royal father.
Baba was a complete family man. He touched every unit of Odugade family. God assisted him, God helped him to be a great man, and he was not selfish about it. He shared all his wealth and experience and knowledge with every part of the family. There is no unit that he didn't bring up at least one child, one person. And we thank God for his legacies. In honesty, I am convinced that Oba Samuel Odulana Odugade I should be remembered by the entire family and the Ibadanland for honesty, for fairness. He was a disciplinarian to the core. He doesn't condone, truancy or laziness. He doesn't encourage corruption. He doesn't believe anybody should have what you have not worked for. He laid a very good example for at least, especially the Obaship line in Ibadan land. I could remember vividly, I was around when he discussed the Olubadan Council on the agreement that the lineage should not be monetized. I'm sure Ibadanland will continue to remember him for that.
During this tenure, he distinguished himself as one of the four first-class Obas in Nigeria. He was all over the country. He was so much respected and revered because when he was there for Ibadan, there was peace and tranquility in the land, and even
when Jonathan said this is recommended him. The same thing, our president Buhari, they all commended him for his principle as to what he stood for. So I think during his tenure, I think it was a peaceful one and the progressive one. He was my hero, he was my, honestly, I miss a lot of things about him because the way discipline, his demeanor, his approach is so humane, whereby, his interaction with people, so soft to your father, and he loves almost everybody. He treats you the way he treats all of his children. He doesn't discriminate at all, that he was in this man. No. So I miss him so much.
So the whole idea of the documentary, I had it when I was in Abuja, was a brainstorm. But what impressed me most, that when I came to sell the idea to the BCOS, especially Chief Dr. Yelade, he took it and referred me to the two directors of news and commercial. The way you guys ran about covering this with each other time, it's just, I'm not surprised. I'm just happy that we still have calibers of hardworking people like you around. I'm impressed. And what is more, Ibadan ma lọ́wájú, and ẹ̀yin bá mi ò bàjẹ́, kò sì ní bàjẹ́. And what is more, I thank all of you, very sincerely, for the effort you made within a week to produce this documentary. I am about Morio, I show.
Oba Samuel Odugade Odulana was blessed with long life. He was probably the first and only Olubadan to have lived above a century. So, on the 14th of April 2014, the centenary birthday celebration of Oba Odulana was held in Ibadan, and the entire city of Ibadanland, with its 7 hills, was shaken to its foundation. The event provided opportunity for President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and other distinguished Nigerians to visit Ibadan and pour encomiums on the highly revered royal father. On the 19th of January 2016, a dark cloud enveloped the entire city of Ibadanland. There was no rain nor sunshine. The ancestors of Ibadanland had used the event to announce the demise and home call of Oba Samuel Odugade. The then governor of Oyo State, Senator Abiola Ajimobi, lost his composure. Prominent sons and daughters of Ibadanland could not believe the news of the death of the highly respected royal father. Market women and traders hurriedly closed their shops as a sign of respect to the highly respected king of Ibadanland. The celebration of the passage of Oba Odulana was strictly in line with Christian doctrine. The body of Oba Odugade was publicly displayed during lining states, as members of the public were given opportunities to have a look at the departing body of Oba Odulana Odugade. Oba Samuel Odulana Odugade was buried in line with his directives at Fadine village, having spent 101 years on the surface of the earth. gentle soul of Oba Samuel Odugade Odulana continue to rest in perfect peace.